Well, African nations at the COP26 summit have a demand for the rich nations there. Step up and pay up. A group of African negotiators wants help to curb emissions and adapt to the changing climate. Their message: Africa contributes the least to climate change but is affected the most. In today's exchange, you'll hear more about those demands. I spoke earlier with one of the African leaders at the COP26 summit, the president of Sierra Leone, JULIUS. I asked him about the effect climate change is having on his country's agriculture and the poverty level.
What we have done is, as a country that is prone to the effects of climate change, we have also set up what we have as what we call as a disaster management agency, and this comes into operation or does a lot of work around prevention. And with the help of this agency, we've been able to do quite a lot in terms of clearing the gutters and all the channels to make sure that before the rains set in, we don't have any blockages that will lead to flooding in Freetown in particular. And where we've had instances of disasters, this body has gone in to provide some support, and it's on the radio and using other media to inform people about what we can actually do as a nation to prevent disasters. So they are all around the country, a special purpose agency just to prevent disasters and to help where disaster strikes.
Some of the wealthiest countries are some of the biggest emitters. And they are falling well short of their emission reduction targets. As we've seen in the US, even the US is challenged to push through a domestic agenda to act on climate change. What are you hoping to see come from the COP26 summit? And just before you answer that, I want to play a little bit of sound from Sir David Attenborough, who spoke a short time ago.
Working apart, we are a force powerful enough to destabilize our planet. Surely, working together, we are powerful enough to save it.
What are you hoping, Mr. President, will come from the COP26 summit to address climate change? What action would you like to see?
Well, maybe I can talk about what I would prefer at the end of it all, because we are here as world leaders to actually discuss the problem, the enormity, the gravity of the problem, and to find solutions to it. I think I can speak more for my country and maybe part of the developing nations, that definitely we want to reduce our carbon footprint in the world, but we are not the greatest in terms of producing these greenhouse gases. So we have to get the developed world, who are producing more than 80% of all of these, to actually reduce their own carbon footprint and to help us adapt and also adapt first to the measures that can help us reduce our footprint. And we are talking about transiting to green energy, green economy, and making sure that we don't disturb the environment as much as we have done in the past. This is going to be at a cost, and these alternative means of doing that, in terms of fuel, in terms of agriculture, in terms of transportation, are quite expensive for us. So the great climate finance they are talking about is what we want to be able to tap into, to be able to adopt, to adjust to these measures. We are a responsible part of the international community. We want to be able to be part of the solutions, although we are not the greatest corporates, but it is coming at a cost that we cannot afford at this point in time. So we are here to make our voices known, so that they who are the main corporates can also help us deal with this challenge which they are responsible for the most part.
And Mr. President, finally on another topic, I just want to ask you about the election process in your country. The EU election follow-up mission just released its key findings and they were damning. There's massive skepticism over the independence of the National Electoral Commission in Sierra Leone. What are you doing to address that ahead of the 2023 election, and will you ensure that the recommendations made are implemented?
Well, it's unfortunate that the EU made such damning statements, as if called it. The Electoral Commission is independent. It's been staffed long before I got to the office. Few commissioners, the tenure of few commissioners had expired, and of course there is a process for replacing them. They have to be nominated and go to Parliament, and that is what we have done for the most part. They also spoke about the police. The police, we haven't done much about it since we received it, since we inherited governance. So the same police that was there that they never commented on is what now they're saying is too partial. Maybe the leadership I have had to appoint. And they're talking about also the judiciary. We haven't done much about the judiciary in terms of personnel change. So it's a pity, and I'm going to engage them because these institutions are responsible for credible elections, but we have not tinkered with them in any way to skew any elections in our favor. The opposition, we always grumble about these institutions because these are critical institutions for elections. And when anybody is afraid of elections, they try to bring the credibility of these institutions to the fore. And that is what they have done. And they've taken it wholesale and just made it a report. So that is unfortunate, but I want to engage the EU.
All right, Mr. President Julius, we will follow up with you on that in the coming months. Good to have you on the program. Thanks so much for your time.
You're welcome.